1 Peter 5:8 says, "The devil is seeking whom he may devour." Join Don Allen as he looks to make you undevourable.
Hey, thanks for giving me 7 minutes of your day to help make you undevourable. I'm your host, Don Allen. Now, Jesus proved something to us that probably isn't a very popular thing to say, but I hope that you can hear what it is that I'm trying to say to you today. Let me explain. Jesus walked into a church in Mark 3, and he found that man with the withered hand, you remember. And this guy is surrounded by the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, surrounded by ministers, preachers. And this man had a physical infirmity, and as we know, sometimes we allow those things to spill over into our spiritual walk with God, where we allow physical infirmities to keep us from doing what it is that God really is calling us to do. So Jesus comes in, and these guys are just standing there in the church looking at this guy who's crippled. I mean, he's crippled. He's standing there in the church, and he's crippled. Well, Jesus comes in and he heals the guy, and they get all kinds of upset because Jesus was going to go against their doctrines that day. Hey, we don't do it that way here. We have a program here. Well, we know Jesus came in and he messed up that program. So here's something that we can see through this story. Church wasn't the answer. I know. Messages like this aren't going to get me invited to speak anywhere anytime soon, but isn't that what we see here? Church, in and of itself, wasn't the answer. These men of God were no doubt very knowledgeable and they knew about God, but they weren't the answer. Jesus was the answer. So here's the thing. Why are we always telling the sick or addicted or messed up people that we meet out in the world, hey, you just need to come to my church? Church isn't the answer. They need the life of God. Now, if we would give them that, they might come to church, but really, aren't we the church? Well, we later see Jesus coming into another church on a Sunday, and this time he finds a woman who's been hunched over for 18 years, bent over for 18 years. 18 years, and this disease has progressed, and now she's in such a spot she can't even lift her head up anymore to look at somebody. Well, Jesus walks in, he says, hey, what's the deal here? Be healed, and she's totally healed. And the pastor of that church, it said, was so mad that he spoke with indignation because Jesus, now we're talking about Jesus, because Jesus dared to heal this woman in his church on the Sabbath day. But hey, just come to my church. Church was not the answer. Jesus was and is the answer. Now in Acts 3, there's a man who's sitting at the gateway that leads into the church. He's sitting there because he's been crippled his whole life. And all these great men and women of God walk by this man week after week after week, and they're talking about how great the church service was. I mean, this poor guy is sitting here hearing all about the goodness of God and how amazing this God is, and nothing. Well, two men walk up and they see that this man is in some trouble, shouldn't be this way, and didn't invite him to come into the church, didn't tell him how he needed to just get hooked up with a local body of believers. That's all good, but that's not the answer. You know what? The charitable deeds of the church, well, that wasn't the answer either. They were throwing money at the guy, but that didn't fix it. But these other guys came up and they said, in the name of Jesus, Jesus is the answer. And let me note this. Church wasn't the answer, but the church was part of the answer. I'm talking about these two men who allowed God to use them. We are the church. And look what happened. A real life encounter with Jesus through real church, through these men of God. And where do we see this man going immediately afterwards? He goes to church. Give them Jesus and they might come to church. Make them come to church to find Jesus, and well, they may only find doctrines and they might find some sermon, but they may not find Jesus. So let me say this, and this is the truth. 3 weeks, 3 different times in a row, I was sitting in a different church service at a different church under a different pastor, and this is no lie. This is exactly what took place. I'm always sitting there, and I'm trying to hear the messages as if I was an outsider. What would I think of this message? Would it mean anything to me if I wasn't someone that came to church, or if this was my first time? Would it meet my needs? Would it heal me if I have a physical problem? Would it change me or challenge me in any way? And no joke, 3 weeks, 3 different churches, 3 different ministers. One talked the entire service, the whole 40 minutes, about needing money for a down payment on a new building. The other one talked an hour about how people need to step it up and start helping out around here and changing the light bulbs and fixing the leaky toilets. The third one talked for about an hour on how they've been being attacked by others and how bad they felt. But come to my church. How about a man who was at the pool of Bethesda? You remember this guy. It says that at a certain season, an angel would come down and stir the waters, and the first person in the water would be healed of whatever they had. Now, this is certainly a method from God, right? I mean, it says an angel from heaven would come down and do this. So this isn't just something. This is from God. But again, this man had been this way for 38 years, and he admits to Jesus, I know that people are getting healed by this, but every time I try it, I can't seem to get in the pool, and nobody's helping me. But I'll be right back here tomorrow. A method isn't the answer. Jesus is the answer. Certainly there are methods that others use, and God has touched their lives, and they've been set free and have experienced miracles, but that in no way means that it will work for you. There are way more people at the pool not healed than were healed. Not that that wasn't something from God, it was, but methods are not the answer. Jesus is the answer. And something that I want you to see today is maybe you'll be healed at church, maybe at the pool, but in the end, these things had one thing in common, and it was Jesus came and had a custom designed encounter for each one of them. Jesus has a custom designed encounter for you today. So let's stop looking at all the man-made ways and confining God to 5 steps to a healing, 7 steps to freedom. Let's skip all that and just go straight to an encounter with Jesus. Jesus always was and always will be the answer, and we've got to know that Jesus wouldn't ever be boxed into just a simple method, my friends. Certainly there are methods, but you know what? Let's leave the delivery system to him. Let's stop all the methods and living off of others' testimonies. How about we go and we just create our own testimony? Not some church service, not just an experience in and of itself in a building, but an encounter. An encounter that can take place at any time, anywhere. Do that, and you'll be undevourable.
Thanks for listening. If you would like more information and resources on how to be undevourable, we invite you to check out our website. Go to www.TwoGuysAndABible.com. That's TWOGuysAndABible.com. You can also contact Don Allen directly for prayer. His email address is don@TwoGuysAndABible.com. Telephone is 573-216-1871.